Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Man United Agenda. And we are previewing Manchester City versus Manchester United. Is it the biggest derby game? Still thinking about it. But guys, welcome to the channel. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Man United Agenda. And it is your derby day, and it is Manchester City versus Manchester United, the noisy neighbours versus the true red of Manchester. Welcome, guys, to the channel. And as always, we're joined by a fantastic panel. We're joined. Let's introduce the Man City fans first, and that's Ian Blue Moon. We all know him from part of the Sisters channel as well. So Ian's been with us for a very long time, but he's always dedicated himself to the other channel. And we are welcoming for the first time on the channel, Nobbins. Welcome, guys. How are you doing?
Hello. And I'm looking forward to talking about the 188th Manchester derby, 188. And to give you a very quick update, it is 1 day, 19 hours, 15 minutes, and 46 seconds away from starting.
Oh Lord, how are you feeling, Nobbins? You good?
I'm doing great, thank you. Thank you so much for having me on the channel as well.
You're more than welcome, sir. And in the Manchester derby, I think there's a stats out to say that the goal difference is 0 goal difference going into this game. How is that on Monday?
Yeah, I heard that. I think I've seen Ian post that recently, that we're equal on goal difference and that kind of thing, which is a bit surprising for me considering the dominance we've had under Fergie era. But Man City are back, and we have to be realistic here. The last decade or so, they've just been the champion team, and you have to take your hat off to them.
Yeah, it's interesting because over the years, even when City were very, very poor, we didn't have that bad a history in the derbies, even though we were many places below.
And Pat, welcome back off your holiday, looking nice and tan. How was those beers in Spain, mate? How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm good. Happy to be back on the agenda. Missed the sun, missed the pill, but that's life. Get on with it. Move forward. You know, looking forward to the derby the weekend. But good to be back.
Excellent. It is, to be honest with you, it is noisy neighbours, to be fair. But listen, guys, we take nothing away from Manchester City. So, as always, we're going to ask the City fans first. We're going to talk about threats. Let's talk about memorable games. Let's kick a memorable games. Ian, your most memorable game, Manchester United versus or either, vice versa, best and worst. Wrap it up in about 30 seconds.
Can you see this on the camera?
No, we can't. You disappeared.
Oh, I'm in the background. Anyway.
Oh, the toilet bowl. I can see a toilet bowl behind you, yeah.
No. This board. Let me get it. Oh.
We can't see it. You can't see it.
Okay.
You physically cannot see it.
I'll hit the background. But anyway, the board I have actually is from the last Main Road derby where Man City won 3-1 with Sean Gota. If you remember that game, I think it was
that game.
Gary Neville completely screwed up for the third goal and was sat on his arse as Man City scored in the derby. And it was November 2002. So November 2002, the last Manchester derby at Main Road, City 3, United 1. Gary Neville sat on his butt. Happy days.
And you worse?
God, how do I pick from about 25? I can't even think of it. I can't even think of the worst, but there's been some real bad ones. I think some of the ones from about 2 seasons ago, where City were roaring to the league to win the Premier League. United weren't anywhere, and still United won 2-0 at City. I couldn't get over that. Don't know what happened that day.
There you go. And let's go to Nobby's now. Best and worst game.
Yeah, so wrapped up in 30 seconds. Best, it's got to be the 6-1 at Old Trafford. David Silva with that perfect pass to Edin Dzeko. That was a sort of a real turning point, I think, as well, in terms of the power shift in the two clubs. And the worst, look, there have been some really bad ones over the years, but just because City should have won the title that day, I'm going for the 3-2, where City were 2-0 up half time in the 17-18 season, and Pogba had one of the only really good like world class games in the United shirt that I've ever seen, and same with Sanchez as well. Very annoying. City still won the title, but just really annoying more than anything else. So yeah, definitely that one.
Thank you. Omundi?
Yeah, the worst one, I'm going way back when Mark Hughes scored a brilliant goal at Main Road, a volley just as a consolation goal, really. We lost 5-1 against the City side. We weren't really, they were, like Ian said, they were up for it and they weren't really challenging for anything back then. And that I remember that, and I was really shocked by that result. But they put it on us that day. And the best result, I mean, boy, maybe the Michael Owen one when he scored that winner against a tough City side. I think if we beat any side beating City over the last 10 years, that would go down as a really good result because we're miles behind them.
Okay.
I'm surprised you didn't mention the Rooney overhead kick.
Oh, that was me. I'll wait for it. Pat's coming in with it. Pat's coming in with it. Go on, Pat.
Okay,
Go
so
on.
you just took it out of your mouth with the way.
Spoiler alert.
The Rooney overhead kick was my favorite. You know, you don't forget a goal like that. That was a cracker. Your worst moment had to be last year. It was the worst lackluster performance from any Manchester United team. I don't mind being beaten on the day by a better team, but we were just a deflated team that just got walked over embarrassingly. And the worst thing about that game was I brought my wife to the pub and I had to listen to it for the whole 90 minutes as I made her sit there and watch it with me, unfortunately.
Oh, unlucky. Now, to be honest with you, I think for me, one of the couple of standout thing for me could have been the Rooney overhead kick. The Michael Owen 97-minute goal as well after losing, was it 2-0, come back and beat them 3-2. Sean Goater again, Ian mentioned it. I was sitting around my house when I used to live back in Harrow and I watched it with my friend, and basically as what my friend Stuart said, feed the goat and he will score. And that's all it was. All he was doing. He's a Liverpool fan, by the way, so that's why. But there's loads of memorable games for Manchester United. I remember, again, another memorable game as well. City were bottom of the league. They had to get a point. They had to beat Manchester United to basically stay in the Premier League. They drew 0-0 and got relegated. So, and then from then onwards, they went to League Two. Noisy neighbours are back now. So, as Armando said earlier, you've got to give them the respect. They're back. Pep Guardiola is doing a fantastic job there. I think all that's stopping them to being a great team is the Champions League, and that's it. But listen, fair no one. I think, is it Amanda? Do you want to go with the GMS Limited, or does Ian want to do it?
Yeah. So I got guys, we've got our first sponsor, and it's I'll read out a little statement about the sponsor, and hopefully you can look them up. So Global Mapping Surveys currently assists architects, properties, developers and construction companies all over the country. They offer a wide range of services such as setting out topographical surveys, 3D laser scanning and monitoring. The link is in the description and the website for contact details. So we'll put that up for you. So it's GMS, and it's one of our own boys, Adam, who runs the company. So fair play to Adam. We will be bigging you up for your company for every show on the Man United agenda going forward. So thanks for the sponsor, guys.
Brilliant. So guys, make sure you go check them out as well. So guys, we are going to kickstart the show, and the first thing we're going to kickstart the show with is, let's go through one or two comments quickly on Monday before we go. And guys, everyone who's in the chat, 19 in the chat so far, just make sure you give us a like, share and a subscribe as well, and get involved in the comments as we go along, and we'll read out as many as we possibly can as well.
So I just want to say hi to everyone in the comments. I'm not going to read out all your comments today because we're a bit, we haven't got much time. But Bath Time Vaughan says, Nobbins made a good documentary about Pep. It's well worth watching.
That,
so
definitely.
Nobbins, you tell me about that after the show. I'll go and check that out and tune in for that one.
Brilliant.
Bill Badger's in the house. He's saying Omundi was there for the first one, talking about the first derby. Trying to say I'm old. HG Gamer saying, didn't know we had City fans on YouTube. Ha ha ha. Bath Time saying, you can see the rest of the City fans behind Ian in an empty stadium, clearly. Matthew Bassett saying, I remember the 90s.
Just answer that at Main Road, there's been the record crowd for a first division game.
And what year was that, Ian?
About 1948. Also,
I'll stop you right there.
Without Main Road, Man United wouldn't have been able to play football during the Second World War and just after the Second World War. So they actually shared a stadium.
We appreciate you for that. Matthew Bassett said, I remember in the 90s, City beat us 5-0. Can't remember the exact year. I think he's talking about the 5-1. Was it with the Marquez result? Stuart Marshall's, he's on the show last night. How you doing, Stuart? Says, we've won 5 of the last 8 at Empty Hat.
Yes, we have.
Gavin Ward saying Rooney's overhead kick
never had less than
was one of his
51,000
best performances. Bath Time saying, obviously, McTominay's 40-yarder is a standout for him. Matthew Bassett saying Paul Scholes header 1-0. We'll say hi to Paddy saying we'll beat City on Sunday, and Martinez will harness Haaland. This isn't a Joe Lil set wind up, but Paddy come true prediction. City will watch out. So he's giving predictions here. I want to say hi to Almighty Blues. That's Ankit. How you doing? I saw you stole our Errol the other day and done a brilliant show. I'd suggest everyone go and check out his channel. He's doing real good bits. So big up to Ankit, man. Chelsea fan, but all-round football fan, and that's why we love you. And Go Paul's here as well, saying we're not beating City with Ronaldo up front. There you go.
Right, so let's kickstart the show, guys, and we are going to start talking about threats for City. But we've got threats for United, and then so we're going to start off with Ian. Ian, what threats do you have for? Who do you see is going to be the biggest threats for Man City and the biggest threats for Manchester United in the game tomorrow and Sunday? Sorry.
Yeah, I think the biggest threats for Man City is actually not a player; it's the manager, Erik ten Hag. He knows the City way. He knows the Pep way. He's a very shrewd, well thought through coach, and he will have studied the game in depth and looked at the tactics to play City. And I think if the threat is if United can contain City and frustrate them for a great period of time, they do have the pace to be able to punish them on the break. For once, I'm actually quite pleased that Rashford isn't playing because he's exactly the sort of player that could hurt us. I think the threat is also, though, about a high-press game. City don't respond particularly well to an incredibly high-press game. And if United get out the blocks super fast, like Liverpool have done in the past, and really pressurise Ederson in goal, and a back four where the central defenders aren't particularly averse with playing with each other, then I think that's the threat. Eric's organisation and a pressing game. That's what I would say.
Nobby?
So for me, I do think that the threats, Ian touched on it, I think the biggest threat, if he is indeed playing, would be Marcus Rashford. I think that the team that's caused City the most issues this season was Newcastle. It was say maximum, and I'd expect Rashford, if he is able to play and is fit, to be in that same position, because Kyle Walker this season has been playing much more inverted and centrally. Now, that does afford City a lot of options in terms of it allows Kevin De Bruyne to whip in balls from that right half space or even the right wing at times this season into Erling Haaland. But at the same time, if United are able to catch City in transition and do a very quick ball to the forward players who have pace, you think of Eriksen pinging in Rashford, for example, on the counter-attack, that could be where the issue lies for Manchester City. So for City, it will be about ensuring they don't lose the ball in the midfield. I'd be amazed if Casemiro didn't start, for example, because he's so good at that. So it's about keeping the ball and ensuring that United aren't able to hit City in transition.
Pat?
Threats from Man City has to be Kevin De Bruyne. He's such a silky baller. Plays them those shoe balls, cuts teams in half. I would be concerned about him as one of my main threats, and then obviously Erling Haaland is a bit of a no-brainer. Threats for Manchester United and Man City, as the lads alluded to earlier on, Man City's back four isn't 100% with the likes of Laporte is injured, John Stones is injured. I think we have a chance. I certainly wouldn't write off Ronaldo playing. That man can score from anywhere, from any height. I wouldn't be too concerned. I'm not overly worried about this injury crisis of Rashford and Martial. There could be a little bit of mind games being brought into this. I just read in the comments there earlier on that Bartime was saying that Martial is being trained all week and Rashford's training today. Even though both of them on the injury list says that they are to be confirmed when they will be back. So they're not actually saying they're out for a certain date. So hopefully now Ronaldo's going to be our danger man on Sunday. He needs a bit of retribution, that man does. He's getting a little bit too much stick the last while.
Yeah. And on Monday?
Yeah, I agree with Ian. Really good answer there, Ian. He's talking about Ten Hag. I'm doing the bath time with Vaughan show, eye test Tuesday at 10 p.m. It's all about the system. And I do agree. It's all about the system. And the most biggest threat from Man City is the system. No matter what players they have coming at you, it's the system. They will wear you out, and possession is everything for them. And the way they play is beautiful, and they can suffocate teams. But, big but, the biggest threat for Man United, like Ian said, is Ten Hag and his system. It's going to be a clash of styles. I think Pep's going to be very wary at this stage of the season not to go all out, because you've seen what we've done to Arsenal and the really potent Liverpool as well. We've neutralised them, soaked up the play and counter-pressed them with our rest defence, the 5-man rest defence. So I think it's really important that players like Rashford and Martial may be our fit or an option for us, because I think with Nathan Ake, who I've been giving a lot of hell lately, because I don't really think he's a top class player, even though he's a good professional. I just think seeing him in defence, it's giving me hope. And I think Kevin De Bruyne as well, class player, someone you can't really replace. Be interesting to see Haaland as well. So I'm really looking forward to the game, but I just think it's system versus system and top managers going at it. It's going to be like chess game. And I think we can win based on what I've seen so far with Arsenal and Liverpool. So be warned, guys. We're coming for you.
Yeah, what I'd like as well is the Ten Hag press conference today, when they're basically talking about Man City mainly in all the questions they ask him. And one of the questions they asked him was about obviously how to keep Haaland quiet. And he said it straight away. It's not about obviously keeping Haaland quiet. If the team listen to the direction and listen to what the instructions are, man for man, we should be able to go out there and beat Man City. Now, for me, it's to beat City, it's keeping Kevin De Bruyne quiet. If we can keep Kevin De Bruyne quiet, that's City beaten. For me, I know not a lot of people will agree with me. I know people talking about the Rashford and other players, sort of midfield players, but I think a player who will have a massive key role at Man United versus City is going to be Malicious. I think if Malicious can go at sort of like what we say in the defence, and Nathan Ake, I think we stand a chance. Omundi, would you mind? Big up Matthew Bassett as well.
Yeah, there you go. So we got a £5 donation from Matthew Bassett, and he just wants to say we're winning on Sunday.
Yeah.
He's stirring the pot.
It's been a positive talk.
Yeah. That's to buy the extra ticket for someone to go to the Etihad, isn't it?
I thought he was donating £5 to buy one of the Man United back four.
Oh no need to. But guys, 18 in the chat. If you're new to the channel, just give us a subscribe. If you're not new, just make sure you give us a like. I don't know how many likes we've got at the moment. I think it's 22 or 23. We've got some new people, and we'll go through as well. So guys, we're talking about threats for Manchester United and for Man City. So we spoke about players to watch as well, but when it comes to the derby games, do you look at current form, or does that go out the window, Nobby?
I don't know if I buy the whole thing about form goes out the window on derby day. I fully expect Man City to have around 70% of the ball, and I fully expect City to dominate. Whether that means they win, that's another matter. But I think the game plan from United will be more so what we saw against Arsenal, Liverpool, where basically they just wanted to get men behind the ball and hit City on the counter, and hit Liverpool, Arsenal on the counter. So I do think will be a similar thing. So yes, does form go out the window? I don't know. I don't think so. Don't necessarily agree. I think that if City just play their best team, then they should win quite comfortably, to be honest.
Ian?
Sorry to disagree on that one. I'm just reflecting back. I mean, we talked about that 5-1. We talked about United winning at City 2-0 when City won the league. There have been some whole variety of games where actually the form has gone out the window. And what I fear is intensity. And I always think that McTominay reminds me of Darren Fletcher. And when Fergie was manager at Man United, he purposely put in Fletcher and all those players who would absolutely give blood and put the absolutely intensity in the derby. So actually playing it a slightly different way. And I think when you play it slightly a different way, then the result is a little bit more of a lottery versus the form. So I do think the derby is different. And I don't think that City particularly respond well to a monster pressing, high energy game because it puts them off that possession bit. And you're right, talking about your new fullback. If they can unsettle City and not give them time on the ball, the fear I have is actually in front of goal. And that is when Ederson gets pressed, the mistakes they can make at centre back and in front of the goal when they're trying to hold the ball, ready to control the game, but they're not given the opportunity of doing it. Time and time again, we make a mistake at that stage. And it was interesting. Omundi talked about Nathan Ake. I think he had a really good start to the season, and he is a good player, but he's not a worldie. When you watch him, there's that moment of hesitation when he wants to play the ball that the likes of Laporte and Diaz and Walker and Cancelo don't have. That little moment of hesitation. Look for it tomorrow if he's playing.
Yeah. And let's go, Pat. Pat, same question as well. Obviously, does current form go out the window when it comes to derby? Because obviously we played Liverpool. Liverpool went through. They're going through quite a bad form at the moment. They've got lots of injuries and things like that. But with Manchester City, yes, they have injury, but so has Manchester United.
Okay, so does form go out the window? Sometimes it does in a derby game. Sometimes it doesn't. This game. Strategically, it's going to be like a game of chess between two managers, one up and coming and one fully proven. Well, he'll be fully proven. Well, he is fully proven. That's I won't say it on the other way. I think Manchester United's biggest problem is going to have to be make sure they keep their head. I know there's 90 minutes in the game, but Man City have the team on all areas of the park going forward to punish us at any given time. One of your best players who drives me up the wall playing against would be Rodri, for technical fouls, which would upset Man United's balance in games. And Nobbins, I can see him smirking down there because he's a devil for it, and it drives me mad. But he's excellent at it, and he gets away with it. So kudos to him. So I kind of want Manchester United to raise the game, do what Eric Ten Hag says, and don't fall victim to them kind of technical fouls. But there's 90 minutes in this game, and as we said, Man City can punish us from every side of the pitch, not just Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah, for me, Gogolin as well. For me, is one other player. But Omundi form. Does it sort of derby game? Does it really matter about form? Or first time also that Ten Hag is coming up against Pep in the Premier League in a derby game.
I agree with Ian. Sometimes form doesn't really matter when you come to a derby. I just think at this stage of the season, with so much coming up, like 13 games in 6 weeks for a lot of sides now, and the World Cup as well. I just think it's going to be very conservative. There's no real fire in this game at this stage of the season. Even if Man City get a draw, it's not going to be too much of a worry. And I think Pep's really going to be conservative out there. Bit like Eric's our manager Ten Hag. He says I want to win every game. He will try to win, but I don't think there's going to be that fire in there because there's nothing to really play for. We're only just out of September. We've only played 6 games or something, so I don't believe if this was like a title clash in May, then it would be different. There'd be something to play for. But at this stage of the season, I just think there's not really much fire in this game. You can tell by the panel, we're all relaxed, all friendly here, when usually we'd be biting each other and going for each other. But Ian, if he carries on with his wisecracking jokes, we might just do that. I might just drive up to Main Road or wherever you're at the moment.
I had one comment to make, and if Rodri does, for foul perpetually, I can't imagine that Bruno Fernandes won't tell the whole goddamn world about it.
Well, the thing is, you know what? Concerningly, the only player that concerned me at Man United in the big games is Bruno Fernandes. So I'm just hoping, I'm praying, fingers crossed, he doesn't go missing in this game because we are going to need him. He will be the captain this time round, not Maguire. So no one can blame Maguire for this. If whatever the result is, if it's a win, then we praise. If it's a lose, then we sort of back the team still, no matter what happened. But let's go through some of these comments, guys. 19 in the chat.
There's one here I've just got for you right on time.
Wait for it though. Before we do that, we need to give the plug in for the sponsorship again. It's that time again.
Oh gosh, He put it on me like that. Let me just read this comment while I draw this up. Anyway, Animal, how you doing, Animal? He's saying Bruno ran Rodri ragged in international break. Absolutely took him apart. If it's not for two City players in Cancelo and Diaz, Portugal wouldn't have lost. That's what he's saying. So I'm just going to go back to again, because we've got GMS, that's Global Mapping Surveys, and I'm going to tell you all about them. So Global Mapping Surveys are currently assist architects, property developers, and construction companies all over the country. And they have a wide range of services, setting out topographical surveys, 3D laser scanning, and monitoring. And as Bath Time said earlier, maybe Ronaldo could do with some surveying to find where the goal is as well. So thanks for that joke there, Bath Time. I appreciate you. Always there with the good humour. And so big up GMS in cooperation with Man United Agenda. We are running things.
Yeah. Also, guys, as well, if you guys don't actually know as well and haven't yet subscribed to these channels, if you want a bit of banter, I can give you loads of channels, which is in association with the Man United Agenda as well. And Ian, you can give us one of those channels that you always features on, so you can give that a little plug as well.
Yeah, when you pick up the Mullet Show, which goes out on a Wednesday night, it's an alternative version. It's the comedy, it's the fun, it's the it's not a serious show, but we take the lightness out of football and have a little laugh about it. Yeah. So watch out for the Mullet Show. Ollie is a supreme team leader.
And that's on Full-Time Sports Network as well. You can also check out the Armory TV, who is sponsored as well by the new sponsorship by Adam as well. We've got Paxton Road, we've got the Cop Talk as well. Even though we're a Man United channel, we still supporting. Even Liverpool channels are disgusting, but we're family. Omundi, would you mind going through some of these comments, please?
No problem. So we talked about Animal. I want to say hi to Animal as well. Welcome to the channel. Haven't seen before. Matthew Bassett's really sort of putting some boots in today. He's saying Liverpool was meant to beat us, Arsenal were meant to beat us, and now it seems City are meant to beat us as well. Bring it on. Paddy, who's also got the ruthless aggression, he's saying it has to be current form, referring to like form.
You know what? Yeah, Omundi, I just thought of something. Yeah, we need to get Paddy and Ian on a show together. That would be that would be a blockbuster to watch.
We'd have to get a referee.
Yeah. Are you volunteering, Pat?
I'm not doing it. I'm keeping well away from it.
Ian has a way of like jabbing people in their face and saying, "Eat that." Paddy's saying here, as current form, last year we were annihilated as expected. Bath Time saying here, you have to be careful when you're saying City dependent on De Bruyne with Silva, Cancelo, and Foden around as well. So yeah, they've got so many talented players. HG Gamers saying stop De Bruyne and Haaland and does nothing. So basically, you've stopped the supply. And Emma K saying I'm fearing Alvarez more than Haaland. Haaland definitely needs others to create for him. I don't know what you guys feel about that.
I think Haaland just needs a bit of space, doesn't he? He's an absolute threat if he gets the space. If he's going to try and muscle our defenders, I think the likes of Scott McTominay, who's been coming back to support recently, he's gonna be in for a rude awakening when he sees Scott appear out of nowhere and probably take lumps out of him. So it's going to be an interesting game. I'm a lot more confident this year than I certainly was last year.
Yeah. And I want to just say, I just saw flash up on screen. Big up Jordan, all the way from Jamaica as well. Can
I mention under the Alvarez 3 things really? Firstly, he did play incredibly well with midweek for Argentina. Secondly,
he only played. Ian, sorry to say, he played against Jamaica. Now I support Jamaica. No disrespect, but anyone would. I'm surprised Argentina only won 3-0.
Well, the Germans only had to play Hungary, but they still made a mess of it.
But listen, if Jamaica played Hungary, Jamaica would have got a battering, probably about 6-0.
Yeah, okay. Second point I wanted to make was it'll be interesting. Obviously, playing all the European games is quite close to home, but the South American players returning will not have had that much time to adjust. I would be surprised if Pep starts him. But the third point I wanted to make is Haaland and Alvarez have started for one game this season. I think it was Bournemouth or someone like that. But I would love to see those two playing together up front, but I'm not sure tomorrow's the day.
Okay. Nobby, anything to add on that?
Just in terms of the Haaland point someone made about if you stop De Bruyne, you stop Haaland. The issue with that is that Haaland occupies around 2 defenders on his own. I think you saw that in the Wolves game. The first 55 seconds, Haaland's occupying players. Who is it running in the back post to attack it whilst Haaland's occupying someone? It's Jack Grealish. So I wouldn't be surprised if a similar thing happens where even if you think, oh, it's okay, we've got Haaland covered, but in order to cover him sufficiently, we've seen that it's not enough to stick 1 defender on him. Sometimes you need to stick 2 on him. And if you do that, it means you leave gaps and spaces and other men clear elsewhere.
Yes, I think Ian touched on it earlier, and I'm going to say this, and I think it could be a position. So I've got my solo 11 team, and I haven't put I haven't put a player in it. But what is it if he changed everything, what the sort of philosophy is of Erik ten Hag, and actually get Scott to mark Haaland out the game completely?
No, you got to talk about it like a cover shadow kind of thing. Stop the ball getting to him. You know, that's what you got to do. You can't just put a man on him. You know, that's just ridiculous. I don't think he would do that. I think that you can't show too much respect out there. I think everyone's raving about Haaland, and I'm raving about him too. He's a physical beast, and he's got mentals, real good mentals as well. But I don't think it's going to be a case of anyone man marking him or picking him out. If he wants to get the ball, you got someone like Martinez who can sort of run under his legs and pinch the ball first, you know, or we've got Varane who reads the game well and shepherd him away from goal. These are really intelligent defenders. So I hope that these 2 players are playing against him. It'd be a good matchup, but I just think what we've got in Haaland is someone who physically can match the strongest of defenders. He's got the pace as well. Once he gets his leg going to get away, so you can't play too high up against him. And he's also got the mentals as well, where he's a monster. He's a goal monster, a goal machine, and a threat. So I just think we're gonna have a work cut out, but don't focus too much on him. Focus on the system, stopping them playing, as in allow them to break us down, but just deny them space. Don't give him space to sort of play in. And I noticed with him, he doesn't really work the channels. He's just playing in a certain area, zone 16, where he's most dangerous, and that's why he seems to be getting spoon-fed so many goals. But it's wonderful to see. He's an amazing player.
Ian?
I was actually going to mention whether there might be a slight dark undercurrent going on here, because this will be the first Manchester derby that Haaland's played. And obviously it was in a Manchester derby where his father, Alfie Inge Haaland, was brutalised by Roy Keane, you know, as admitted to intentional injury. He will know all about that. I wonder what will go through his mind in terms of retribution when he wants on that pitch. If there's an extra, 1% of determination that might go through his head for his dad, it could be something.
No, I can't see it, because modern day football completely changes. It's not how it used to be, where
very close father and son there.
Yeah, I know, but I think like what I look at now when I watch football and I actually listen to some of these players, how they talk, most of these guys are like best friends. It's not how it used to be, where you go on international duty. I don't know if Nobby agree with me. If you go on that international duty, you basically wouldn't sit down with each other. Now you go there, they're going partying, they're going clubbing. It wouldn't surprise me if Haaland goes out with every single player at Manchester United to go clubbing and stuff like that.
Not really the point. It's not about whether he likes the team. It's the determination, the extra determination. It's not about physical retribution. It's about statistical retribution in terms of the score sheet. That's what I'm talking about.
But then sometimes you lose your head, don't you?
Rather than
yeah, but sometimes in that case, when you try too much, you probably lose your head rather than actually concentrate on the team. Nobby?
I think it's an interesting point you raise. I think one comparison could be the modern day rivalry is Manchester City versus Liverpool. You think of sort of like two of the best players from either side, Kevin De Bruyne and Virgil van Dijk. They've openly said that their children go to the same school and they get on very well. And they're just like very good friends on and off the pitch. In fact, last season when Van Dijk did a tactical foul on De Bruyne who was breaking away, instead of De Bruyne getting in his face, they just sort of had an exchange glance, which was like, yeah, fair play, that's the thing to do. Whereas if it was like a sort of dynamic of say 20 years ago, let's say Keane Vieira, for example, they'd have been properly popping off by each other. But so I do think I sort of agree with the point of I think football has sort of evolved. I don't think I don't know if necessarily Haaland in the game will be sort of looking at retribution. I mean, he seems like a robot anyway, sort of devoid of emotion when he's on the pitch anyway. I think maybe that might come across if he scores and there's a celebration. Maybe he'll give it a bit of extra oomph, but I don't think that we'd necessarily have to worry about him. I don't know, like leaving a foot in a challenge because Roy Keane injured his dad. That's just my take on it, though.
No, I agree with that. Sorry, as I say, I don't like to swap the word retribution for motivation. I think you've been motivated to win, not to hurt anybody. So,
guys, we are going to go into the comments now. And Monday is going to read out some of these comments, guys. And I believe Eddie has said there's 31 likes, guys, 22 watching. If you're new to the channel, give us a like, share, and a subscribe. We are trying to get on the road to 2.5k subscriber. We're very close to it. So just everything will help the channel to grow. But before we do and go into the comments, we would like to find out, guys, about your predicted lineup, because you know that's coming. Solo's coming next with that. And if you yet have not seen it, make sure you get your team in as well. So Monday?
Yeah, so Matthew Bassett is volunteering as well. He wants to ref this fight or this showdown between ruthless aggression and the coolest of Ian. Blue Moon Ian, sorry. Eddie's saying, Bill, I would get Casemiro in already. McTominay is a ticking time bomb. I think he will lose form again as he has done before. So they're talking about who's going to play midfield. Matthew Bassett saying Casemiro and Eriksen in a double pivot. That would be... We definitely need a double pivot, but I don't know who's going to be there. I think McTominay and Eriksen have done really well. Bill Badger is saying he will start in time, but I don't want to rock the boat with his team at the moment. So this is all about our midfield. Really concerned. Paddy saying our defense is strong at the moment, so don't worry. Animal is saying Sandro Martinez has already handled Haaland with a man-of-the-match performance in the Champions League, shutting out Haaland to a shocking performance of 0 shots on goal. They beat Dortmund, didn't they, Ajax 4-0 and away again in the group stage last year. Eddie's saying, all right, Bill, I reckon Ten Hag stays with McTominay too. Just wish they could use a single pivot so the midfielders can attack more. Disagree with that. Eddie, I do apologise. Barca saying we will lose by 5 or 6 goals. We tried to man-mark Haaland, I think he's trying to say there. That's for you, Errol. Animals are saying, Eddie, we won't man mark in midfield. Martinez will man mark Haaland and Varane sweeping up vice versa. That's the way to deal with it, he's saying. Gavin saying Martinez will have Haaland in his back pocket. It's not a big talk boasting going on by us, our fans. Bath saying, yes, I agree with Ian. Haaland is obviously going to try and break into the skybox to sort out Keane and leave his man unmarked at the corner. Stuart Marshall saying Ronaldo won't start. And Gavin Moore saying chances of sending off predictions. He's asking panic.
For us, if anyone's going to get sending off for Man United, I would say Dallo.
Well, I don't see it's that sort of derby. I just think it's to be a tactical game. But yellow cards, maybe 2 yellow cards. I can't see any sort of red card offences like that. I don't know what you think, Nobbins, but yeah, I don't see it like that. I don't see the fire anymore where people get sent off for that Haaland or payback or anything like that.
Nobbin, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I agree. I think if there is going to be a red card, maybe a 2 yellow offence. Maybe McSauce gets a yellow like the first half, and maybe a tactical foul later on. But in terms of like a straight red or any hard hitting challenges, I don't see it. I don't think it's that sort of game, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay. So what we're going to do is I can see people asking about Fred. I don't believe Fred isn't in my team, actually. He's honestly not. But before we go to the solo 11, let's just go to Ian, Blue Moon and Nobby and find out what their predicted lineup is for Manchester City.
I think the biggest decision is who plays in central defence with Diaz, whether it's Aki or whether it's, I pronounce it, Jumanji. And I think I would go with the latter rather than that gives equal balance to right and left-footed centre backs. I think that's my key decision. Then I would start Jack Grealish, particularly because he didn't play the second England game. He'll be super fresh, whereas Mahrez did play for Algeria quite late in the week and scored. So I'd leave Mahrez on the bench. I would play Grealish. I would play Foden. I would undoubtedly play De Bruyne and Bernardo with Haaland up front.
Wow. And Nobby?
Yeah, so obviously Edison in goal, Cancelo and Walker are the fullbacks. Diaz will start. I'm going to pop him on the left-hand side of the left centre half. I'm going to play Kanji because I think Ake would be better if we're going to have to rely more on passing, but I don't see it being that sort of game. I think it's going to be slightly more physical, especially if Ronaldo starting. So I think that Kanji would suit it better. Midfield, Rodri, obviously. De Bruyne, obviously. It's just a question of Bernardo or Gundogan. Actually, no, I'll play Gundogan in the midfield. I'll have no, I won't. I'll play Rodri, Bernardo, KDB, and then Grealish on the left because he's going to bring a lot of patience to that game and slow build, which I like. And then Haaland and we'll shove little Phil Foden on the right as well.
That's exactly the same team as me.
There you go, smashed it.
Brilliant.
Yeah, we picked them both. Yeah,
Right, guys, and
over Aki is the key decision, I think.
right, and this is now for those of you who are new to the channel. This is the solo 11. So, guys, as always, you know how it goes, right? So let's start off with Omundi first.
I'm just looking. Fred looks like Ericsson suddenly. You got
Yeah, he does.
what happened there?
He does.
And
Transparency.
the same with Scott McTominay last.
Yeah, Scots. Yeah.
I don't know about availability, but judging that the guys have been injured, Martial and Rashford, that there's an issue there because Ronaldo's starting there. So if Martial and Rashford are fit, I think one of them could start ahead of Ronaldo. But otherwise, that looks like a decent team. I'm agreeing with you here, Solo. I like the team. I like the double pivot that we have. They've been instrumental for us, and I think that's really key. I just want to see Bruno being a bit more responsible against City and just giving us a bit more security there sometimes, not bombing forward or getting ahead of the play. But otherwise, I like the team. And I just want to say to City fullbacks, welcome. This is Anthony's introduction, like he did against Arsenal. Let's see what he's got against your fullbacks. It'll be interesting.
Pat?
Yeah, I couldn't be happier with the team. I would have preferred if Rashford and Martial were starting just because of Ronaldo's current form. But unfortunately, they're not. And I'm not complaining that Ronaldo's up front either. So, look, Martinez and Rafael Varane, long may they stay fit. And no injuries to either one of them because they've been absolutely excellent, along with the low Malacia. And just like what Omundi said, with Fred and Casemiro there, that looks like Eriksen and Scott McTominay. I'm delighted with Eriksen and Scott McTominay. They're absolutely excellent. And I think the effect that Eriksen has on Scott McTominay, along with Erik ten Hag, it's just turned him into such a good player this year. Or it's just highlighting how good he is. I'm loving how well he's working with Martinez. I'm loving how well he looks with Varane. It's like having the third centre half in there for the support he's given them. Even though he's not playing as a third centre half. Bruno Fernandes is going to get better. He is improving. He's enjoying his football. He looks like he's whinging about 10% less every game. Yeah. I think Erik ten Hag is knocking that out. It might be 9%, but it's a little bit less every game. And if Jadon Sancho can just hit that bit of form, I'm telling you, he's going to be absolutely excellent. And Anthony, look, 1 goal, 1 game. Let's hope he keeps it up. I don't think we could be in better form going into this game. I'd just prefer if Ronaldo is probably our weakest link. And if that's our weakest link, it's not the end of the world.
There you go. Let's go Nobby. Nobby, anything you see with this United team? Anything you would change as well?
Can I just check? So is it Fred and Casemiro or is it Ericsson McTominay?
It's Ericsson. It should be Ericsson and Scott.
Okay, right. Okay, interesting. So I would have actually been more scared if it was Fred Casemiro, which sounds counterintuitive, but
wow.
I feel like what the midfield you've gone for is very brave, and I like it, and I do think it would produce an exciting game. However, the way I see the game going, I really don't think it is going to be the sort of game for these players, and I do think that United would probably be better off being less brave and backing off a bit more and maybe playing more players who are more likely to break up the play, such as Casemiro and Fred. But from an entertainment perspective, I'm very happy with your team, and I think that if that is the team, I think it becomes a much more entertaining game than what I'm envisaging.
No, but can I ask you a question?
Of course you can.
If Casemiro and Fred were to be playing there, do you think they'd hold their position better than McTominay and Ericsson would in a game like this, known Fred's record?
I think that Fred, I don't know how many games they've played together this season, but Fred and Casemiro is obviously an international partnership as well. And I just think that with Eriksen and McTominay, neither of them is an out-and-out defensive midfielder. I know they're sort of capable of playing that role, but Casemiro is one of the best in the business at that. And I just think that I know Fred gets a lot of slack. I quite like Fred. If he had a competent defensive midfield partner with him, i.e. Casemiro, I think you would see a much better Fred than what we have seen in recent years, where he has become a bit of a laughingstock, which I think is a bit unfair to Fred, because I do think there's quite a good player in there.
I think Casemiro, unfortunately, Casemiro is just about 5 games away from being a starter for Manchester United. Fred, he's not professional enough at the moment. Sorry, not professional, disciplined the way Scott McTominay is at the moment with Christian Eriksen. And that's the only difference why I prefer to have the two of them in this game with their current form.
You know what?
Nobby.
Yeah, Nobby.
Hold on,
I'm going to bring you on the channel. Wait, I'm going to bring Nobby on this channel more.
We got to go.
Nobby, you need to come on the channel more.
Yeah,
the reason
man.
why
Come back.
I'm Fred, you've got to come back.
I just want to say, Nobbins, welcome to the block. You don't respect Eriksen and McTominay, but I'm saying you're going to be introduced to the block. And those two have been playing well together. It's not about being defensive or having a FIFA defensive midfielder position or whatever. These two are playing well together. That's why Casemiro, with all his talents, has been one of the best one of the best DMs in the world. It's the system that's working for us. The block that they have there, they work well together. McTominay does so much work together, and you have to play through us. And those two, even though Eriksen, I think he's a number 10, he plays forward, he's so rigid in his system. It's like you can't play through them at the moment. So it'd really be interesting. I think it'd be harder for you with this team that Solo's put out than putting out a team, Casemiro and Fred, who haven't really played together for Manchester United. And Fred doesn't really keep the ball. We've seen him a lot this season, early in the season especially. He very disappointing.
It will
and can't give the ball away in certain areas against City. So I'm really happy with those two. I'm a bit surprised that you've gone for Casemiro and Fred.
Thank you, Nobby. You're welcome anytime on the channel. Thank you. Ian, quick one. Just give a quick roundup as well. Anything in here you would change as well, or you'd keep it as it is?
I think I said earlier in the show, I think McTominay is a perfect derby player. Eriksen is playing out of his skin at the moment, so actually, by default, they're the right two players to put in midfield. I think the only comment I'd make is if Rashford's fit, I would put him in over Cristiano Ronaldo, because I think he's a perfect break player, a much better break player against City, and a better presser than Ronaldo. Because we talked earlier about would there be any sending offs or yellow cards. My only worry is when that City defence is put under massive press, and that's when they tend to. They've all got a possible bad foul in them, and Edison can get caught on the ball. And I think Rashford is far more likely to create that situation than Ronaldo.
Excellent. So, guys, we are going to go into a couple of comments quickly, but remember, what we need to do now is we need to get your score prediction in. So what we are going to do, we are going to go around the panels now, and we are going to ask for score predictions. So let's start off with Mr. Blue Moon Ian. Your score prediction, please, sir.
I was hoping you'd come to me last.
No.
2-0 City.
On Monday. We ain't having Ian back on, by the way, yeah.
First time ever, I'm going to say Peter out to a 0-0. I think it's going to be a draw.
Wow. Nobby?
Sadly, I think it's going to be a boring game. It'll be won by 1 goal. Maximum 3 goals in the game. I'll say City win, obviously. City will win 2-1.
Wow. Pat?
I'm quite confident with the form we're in at the moment that we can get a result. I think it's going to be a 2-1 to Manchester United, but City are going to score first.
I'm going to sit there and say, and I'm going to take this from Omundi's page book. I'm going to say it's going to be a 1-0 Manchester United. It's going to be a very dull game. It's going to be a massive build-up.
Oh, it's not. Stop it.
All that's going to happen is it's going to be a 1-0, and Fred's going to come on and score on the 95th minute overhead kick just to rub salt in the wound.
With a
That's
shaved,
me.
with a shaved head that makes him look like a
Gets his little dreads out, and that's it. Now, to be honest with you, I think it's going to be a tight game up. But listen, I'll take the 1-0 right now and run with it. I think it will be a boring game. I don't think it's going to be anything that they're building up to be. Then again, it might end up turning out to be Man United winning 5-0. Never know. But guys, thanks to everyone. We just do a couple of the scores on there quickly, and then please, if that's okay.
Yeah, so Bill Badger is saying it's the battle of the Baldies, and that'll be 2-2, he reckons. Desmond Archbishop. Matthew Bassett saying 2-1 to Man United. Bath Time saying it's going to be a score draw, 1-1. Emerson saying we're going to win because we are United. It's away from home. But still, 3-1 to Rashford brace. Bruno goal. That's from Animal. Thank you for contributing, Animal. Animal said he's a silent watcher. But you commented today, and we've been reading out your comments. So big up, Animal.
Big up, welcome.
You're right. HG Gamer saying 2-0 to United. Eddie saying 2-2 Archbishop. Desmond. Anwar is saying 3-1 to United. And he's done it in a way because we're the away team, as in 1-3. And Eddie saying, great show. Good night, guys. And have a good night. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you. But before we get off, we just want to find out where Nobbins from. Let's go.
Wait. Before you say that, I know Ian for a long time, but Nobbins, man, brilliant. Love how composed you are. Love how you know your football. Really articulate about the way you speak about football. Love it, man. So I'd love you to join us again because even though we're rivals, you know, it's all about the game, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. And as I say, thank you for having me on. It's been lots of fun.
Yeah.
Cheers, Nobbins.
And you can tell the whole wide world where we can find you.
Oh, so you can find me on the internet. No, so on the YouTube channel, it's called that. You can see it right there. It's L Nobbins FC. It's a football channel. I am a City fan, but it's not just a City channel. It's just a football general channel. For example, my last video was about analysing does sacking football managers actually work. Obviously, there's a City focus, like matchday vlogs example. But if you like football, then you probably like my channel. If you don't like football, then you'll hate my channel. So stay away.
And I've got to say,
hold on. Before you go, Nobbins, you've been invited formally by myself and Bath Time to join us on the eye test, which is Tuesday night, 10 p.m, where we will be going through Man City versus Man United. So the invitation is there. It's not an invitation. You've been summoned. You must appear.
Oh,
gosh, how can I deny such a summoning?
There you go. So again, guys, thank you so much for coming on the channel. It's been really, really nice you coming on as well. So really appreciate that. Ian, we know who you are and where you are, but just tell everyone again where we can find you as well.
Yeah, I like to jump on shows rather than guess them these days. But FTSN is usually the channel, always on the Mullet Show. But then I bounce around a whole variety of different shows that I like to appear on as a guest rather than as a host. So I'll be delighted whenever you want to bring me back. I will rock up.
Well, not if you're going to abuse us.
Same for any of the other shows. If you want a guest with a few views, bring me on.
Brilliant. Guys, remember, there's 16 in the chat at the moment. And remember, we have got another show straight after this at 10 o'clock. And that show is the Friday Night Takeaway, where you can join Mr. B and TalkMU. I don't know if Omundi is on it. I'm not sure. But I believe there will be a whole host of other people on the show. So make sure you go and check them out as well, guys. But from us, this has been your preview show. And don't forget as well, guys, there is a watch along on Sunday. And then there will be a reaction show as well. So Nobbins, if you fancy that as well, you let us know. You can come on as well. Ian, same thing for the reaction show. If we do lose to you, though, we do not want to see neither of you on the show. Just
especially Ian.
just Ian. So from us tonight, guys, we'd like to say have a lovely evening. And thanks for everyone who's watched, liked, share, and subscribed to us. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.